Yo, what's going on YouTube? Pokepaste here, back with another Series 12 team building video. We've been doing a lot of team building videos these last couple of weeks, and today we're looking at Solgaleo and Groudon. Now, this is quite the interesting pair, right? Because maybe you wouldn't expect something like this. Maybe Dialga and Groudon, which we've done, but Solgaleo and Groudon, that's always an interesting one. This is, I believe Aaron Zhang even brought this pair to one of the regionals. I believe it was Salt Lake City, right? But yeah, I've taken a little bit of an interest in these two, and I was inspired by three players in the EUIC. I believe they were all three Italian players, right? It was Pado, Yuri, and Danielle, right? So kudos to them for the inspiration. We're gonna use the same 6 as them. Of course, they've never released their Pokepaste, but that's okay. We can make our own spreads, and based on what we like to do. And again, there's a couple of things that are very interesting with the team that we have and the 6 that they came up with. But first, let's look at these two just together in general. So, you know, you have two physical, strong Dynamax options. Obviously, you don't even have to Dynamax the Groudon. You can mostly Dynamax the Solgaleo. You can boost the Groudon with Steel Spikes and Quake Boost, and then the Groudon becomes very, very bulky and hard to kill. And on the flip side, you can even Dynamax the Groudon, and maybe some games don't even bring the Solgaleo, because without the Dynamax, Solgaleo is a little bit interesting. But we can give a speed control move on the Solgaleo to help enable the Groudon a little bit more. So this way the Solgaleo has a little bit of use outside of Dynamax, and you know, because it gets access to Trick Room, which is what we're going to put on our Solgaleo on this kind of team. So from here, you know, you just want like general checks to everything else and something to, you know, help utilize the drought from the Groudon. So of course we're either going to be using the Venusaur or the Charizard, but again, you still need stuff for like Calyrex Shadow Rider, you still need something for Kyogre, you need something for the other Calyrex. Solgaleo can actually do that, and then Yveltal's on the rise, which Solgaleo doesn't like, but you know, you have ways to deal with it, and we have some stuff on the team that can help us a little bit. But yeah, you know, these are just like, you know, general team building tips. You know, you want something to make your core stronger, but also at the same time have something for what's running around in the meta at the given moment. So how are we going to do this? So from here, I believe something like Venusaur just makes sense, right? I mean, you know, because you have the Groudon, you have the Drought, you know, Venusaur with the Chlorophyll, you know, you get the speed boost, you Dynamax it, you get a fast Gigantamax move of G-Max Vilash, and then that just makes things easier in the end game for something like Solgaleo or Groudon to clean up, right? So it just makes sense here. And then from here, you know, Intimidate and Fake Out is always good. So I think Incineroar is always a staple on a Sun team. You know, you get a boosted Flare Blitz in the Sun thanks to Groudon, so always very much appreciated. And because we're running Trick Room on this guy, okay, you can even try and set up the Trick Room, you know, by leading these two, by clicking Fake Out, then clicking Trick Room, then Parting Shotting into maybe even the Groudon, and then Dynamaxing the Solgaleo, and then just, you know, keep going for those boosts, and then just make the Groudon and your Solgaleo unkillable, you know, something like that. And then from here, I think what else we would also want is something, you know, something more of a flying type here, and I think the Thundurus just makes sense here. So the thing is, when I saw this from all three players, it was actually a Prankster Thundurus, which makes sense a lot, right? You know, you could even use the Grimmsnarl if you want, but I think just having that Prankster Thundurus, that flying type, is always nice. And it's good against Kyogre stuff too, right? Because when you have something like Eerie Impulse, you know, you can neuter those Calyrex Shadow Riders, you can neuter those Kyogres, and then, you know, you're just kind of chilling. It's a very, very good move. And then our last slot, and you might not expect this one, but it makes a lot of sense as well. There was a Suicune on this team, so yeah, welcome back Suicune in Series 12. Basically, the idea with Suicune is Tailwind, right? So, of course, we have the Tailwind, but you also have something called Bulldoze, and then we'll make that as the last slot. So the Bulldoze can activate the policy on the Solgaleo. Generally, you might wonder, why are we putting a water type on a Sun team? So the same reason like for Gastrodon, you know, you're not really clicking your water move. In fact, you're not even running the water move. What you're using it for is to enable the partners, right? It's more of a supporting role. So Gastrodon has the supporting role, you know, with Yawn, But then for our Suicune, we're supporting with Tailwind. We're enabling our Solgaleo with Bulldoze. We're gonna have a dark move on this. You know, you might even guess what it is for the Shadow Rider, and then from there we'll have an ice move just for something like Landorus, which is a little bit annoying, but yeah, this is a cool 6. You know, I generally like it a lot. You know, we got Tailwind, we have Trick Room. You know, we're gonna run Scary Face on this. So, you know, lots of speed control mode. Then you have a fast mode with Venusaur. I think it's a cool 6 that those 3 players came up with, and we're gonna try and do our best to create our own spread with something like this. So let's just go ahead and reveal the GIFs, which is something I always keep forgetting to do in the last couple of videos. So Suicune, Incineroar, Venusaur, and Thundurus. That's our 6 for this time around. So let's go ahead and do the EVs, the items, and the movesets. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with Solgaleo. Oh, by the way, might I also add, you know, you also had that Fire, Water, Grass core with like Venusaur, Suicune, and Incineroar, right? So that's always cool in terms of like team synergy, in terms of getting that VGC core that you always want to have on a team. But more of that on another video. But again, Solgaleo, of course, we're gonna have Sun Seal Strike, good stab move to have, main stab move, Earthquake. Very, very nice. And you can even do it next to Thundurus over here, which is always great if you need to. And then for our last slot, Protect. You know, Protect is really, really good. You can bait potential super effective moves, get your weakness policy going, and then in the following turn, just Dynamax and Smash if you haven't done so already. So, yeah, Groudon. So here's the thing with Groudon, all right? Most Groudons are going with the Assault Vest, right? Now, the thing is, you can also surprise them by going with the Berry, right? And again, I've always been running Citrus Berry Groudon. I think I made like 1 or 2 teams with like Assault Vest Groudon. I did not like it. Not that it wasn't good. It was great. Like Assault Vest Groudon is great. Don't get me wrong. But I just like that surprise factor. You know, just being able to click Protect, and then going for that Swords Dance to punish Intimidate spam with like, you know, if they go for their Incineroars or Landuses, because they expect you to be Assault Vest, but then you pull the trigger and you click either the Swords Dance or Protect, and then, you know, all of a sudden now they're out of position, and that changes the whole game plan from there, right? So I always like Citrus Berry Groudon, and it's still good right now. It's already, you know, done well in some tours and some regionals and tournaments. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So Precipice Blades, Rock Slide, Swords Dance, and Protect. That's our set. Very standard Citrus Berry Swords Dance set. Venusaur. Now, you know, this may change if I want to like play this in a tournament. Like, of course you can go like Focus Sash here, but then like, what do you put here? Citrus Berry, Mental Herb? I mean, I guess. But right now, because, you know, this is just for ladder, I want to have a little bit more fun with my Venusaur, so let's make it a little bit more aggressive. Let's go Life Orb. You know, I've always liked Life Orb Venusaur, but, you know, maybe in the future I may switch it over to Sash, just to have that extra security for clicking Sleep Powder in case you miss once, and then, you know, not use the Life Orb, okay? Because it's a little bit easier to play against Venusaur if you know it's not Focus Sash. Leaf Storm, of course, Earth Power, Weather Ball, and Sleep Powder, right? So, you know, Max Quake boosts are always nice for your Venusaur. You're putting pressure on the Kyogres here with the Grass move, also against the Gastrodons. You know, I don't think you would even bring Gastrodon to this matchup if you're my opponent, but, you know, it's there if they choose to quote-unquote bring it, right? Venusaur is always good with Groudon, so yeah, you know, you can go for Sleep Powders, you can go for Swords Dance, you know, Sleep Powder again, and then Swords Dance again. Always nice. You know, this is why Venusaur is such a threat. From here, Incineroar, Shuka Berry, you know, just to be able to swap in and, you know, into a Landorus or into a Groudon, and, you know, potentially just intimidate them once and take 1 ground move. You know, sometimes that's all you need to win yourself a game. So yeah, Flare Blitz, Fake Out, Parting Shot, and Throat Chop. Right now, that being said, you know, if you want to go like safety goggles here, just because you fear another Venusaur or another Amoonguss, you know, if they click Trick Room, then that's okay. I think both of those items are like the top 2 items right now on Incineroar. I don't know if I would run anything else. I mean, Citrus is always kind of nice, but we have it on the Groudon at the moment, so yeah. So yeah, Shuka Berry is the way to go, I think, for me. The Suicune, so this is also another one where, like, okay, you're thinking about it, and a couple things you can do. You could do like Wakan Berry for the Regieleki matchup, you know, or you can always EV it against the Regieleki if you want to. The thing is, a lot of them are running Life Orb at the moment, so that ruins a little bit of some of the calcs, but not too many, but yeah, Wakanberry is a good option. I think Leftovers makes a lot of sense as well. And you know, you can go back and forth, you know, based on what you're running into more commonly on the ladder. But I think for now, we're just going to go with our Leftover set. So Tailwind, we mentioned. Bulldoze for the weakness policy, we know. And then again, it's good speed control, you know, overall, you know, just to help your guys get faster. Again, Ice Beam for that Landers, and Snarl is our dark move of choice for that Calyrex. Like Suicune is always a good lead, right? Because the thing is, you can go for Tailwind turn 1, right? And then for Incineroar, you know, you just neuter those physical attackers that want to double into the Suicune, or you can even fake out one slot, and then, you know, you can Parting Shot while this goes for Tailwind. Bring in the Solgaleo, and now all of a sudden Solgaleo and Suicune are under Tailwind. You go for the Bulldoze, you proc the policy, you Dynamax, you smash. The Suicune becomes bulky over time, and then just supports with stuff like Snarl and Bulldoze, and you know, it's a really nice combo with Incin, Suicune lead, I should say, right? Thundurus. So this is where we'll put the Pokepaste originally. Of course, we'll have one electric move to hit, Thunderbolt. And then from here, Scary Face is a good move. You know, extra speed control, I should say. Now, this last move, so the thing is, this also gets Brutal Swing, which I believe was, I don't remember, I think maybe all three of them had it. All three players had it. They procced it for the Solgaleo. I think that's kind of cool. And I may end up going back to it, but you know what else is kind of cool? That may also just work kind of almost pretty cool. Almost just as well, I should say. We're going back to the Clover Tech. We're going back to Leer. Okay, so like it's almost like a weakness policy, right, for Solgaleo, right? Just in case. Like, let's say, you know, you just can't proc the policy with the Suicune. You can always just click. You can always just leave these two. Click Leer, and then Earthquake. You know, that's kind of cool. You can do that. And now, all of a sudden, now you can also help the Groudon a little bit more, right? Because now you can click Leer, and then you can go for Precipice Blades. And now the Groudon can also benefit from the Thundurus, you know, support, not just only Solgaleo. So I think Leer is kind of cool, you know, and worst case scenario, you know, that also helps Incineroar. You know, turn 1, Incin, Thundurus, you know, they lead their Zacian, you know, catch them off guard. They think that, oh, I'm EV to live a Flare Blitz. Yeah. So then I'm just gonna stay in, click Leer, you click Flare Blitz, Zacian's dead. I'm not saying, you know, good player would leave their Zacian out to die just like that, but you know, it's always an option. So yeah, this is the 6 in terms of our movesets, our items. So let's just go ahead and do the EVs now, right? Okay, so let's start with Solgaleo here. So again, we'll start with the speed tier first, then we'll go with the attacking stat, and then our leftover bulk from here. So we're gonna go Adamant here. I think it just makes a lot of sense, and we want the Solgaleo to have a speed tier where it can thrive both in the Trick Room and in the Tailwind scenario, right? So I still want to be able to outspeed Calyrex Shadow Rider, and I think I can do that already with Tailwind, you know, even without any speed investment. So I'm good there. Trick Room, same idea. I'm still okay. I think I just want a little bit of speed, a tiny bit of speed, just to, you know, outspeed some other Solgaleos, but also outspeed some of the Groudons out there, because, you know, generally Groudon's like right around 112 to 116, but some of them are starting to speed creep each other, right? So some of them are going for like 117 and stuff. So, and some of them are even going to like 120 because they want to outspeed Thundurus. So we're gonna be like, yeah, we don't want to get outsped by those Groudons, so we're just gonna go a little bit, something like this. That's all we need. That's all the speed we need, 121. Okay, so like this'll give us an advantage over Thundurus with a +1, and you know, we're still slow enough where we can really benefit from Trick Room, and it's still fast enough where we outspeed, more than outspeed Calyrex Shadow Rider. So that's our speed tier for Solgaleo. Now from here, I think we just want to go to the third EV bump with the attacking stat. So I believe that's going to be at 180, right? So right here, 174, 176. This is our first benchmark. Then every 80 EVs from here, you get +2 in the stat. So right here, 100. So you see how you go from 185 to 187. This is our second bump. And then the third bump, another 80 EVs, you go to 180. So now you go from 196 to 198. And again, if you don't know what EV bumps are or what EV benchmarks are, check out our video that explains what EV bumps or EV benchmarks are. And it's all done through one-on-one coaching, where if you want to learn more about, team building, something like this, check it out. That's our tier 3 sub to the channel below, but more on that at the end of the video. Let's go ahead and build this team. So we got our attacking natured EV spread for our Solgaleo. Now from here, we just have 300 points of EVs left. Let's put it all into our bulk. I think 239 is a good stat to have, right? So 239 optimizes the chip damage that you would get over time, the damage over time ticks. And then from here, you just want a little bit of speed def, just so that you can take the Astro Barrage from Calyrex Shadow Rider relatively well. And then this is just leftover defense. Honestly, you can even do something like this, where you can just put the rest over here like this. This is also okay, but I just wanted the minimum that I need, and then just put the rest in defense. I think this is totally fine. So yeah, that's our Solgaleo Trick Room / Tailwind spread. I think it's kind of cool. It hits hard. It's very bulky. So what else do you want from your Solgaleo? Groudon here. So Groudon, again, I did mention the Groudons were floating around, anywhere from 112 to about 116. And that's exactly what we're going to go for. We're going to go for that 116 stat, just to outspeed those other Groudons that are, not 116. So there's that. And again, you're slow enough where, you can fully utilize the Trick Room, right? But also still fast enough where you're faster than something like Calyrex Shadow Rider. So always important there. Then from here, second EV bump nature in our attacking stat, 156 is all we need. This will get us to that second benchmark. 209 attacking stat from Groudon is always very, very good. And then from here, we just need almost max HP. You can max the HP like this, right? If you want to do something like this. And then, yeah, put the rest in Speed F. But I want to optimize the berry a little bit. So you can even do something like this. And now you have an even number in the special defense, to get the best bang for your buck for the max Quake boost. But I want a little bit more, so I'm just going to drop it a little bit and then go into 92. I think this is okay. Just a little extra special defense doesn't hurt Groudon. It's going to help against the Kyogre water spouts when you swap it in and bring out the sun. You get the berry recovery, so that, potentially take another one depending on their spread. I think it's kind of good. Venusaur here. So Life Orb Venusaur. Now, generally, of course, we're going to be going modest here. So, we can be a hard-hitting Venusaur, but I don't want to make it too slow. I still want to have a good amount of speed, and this is always my speed number for my modest Venusaurs. I always like to go to 204, just so that in the sun, I can still outspeed a base 100 with a +1 boost, right? So if it's Charizard or Zapdos that just went for Airstream, if I'm in the sun, I still outspeed them, right? So that's always good, because then I have a second shot at clicking Sleep Powder, if they haven't killed me already. So that's my speed tier for modest. And then from here, your attacking stat and then leftover bulk. So let's go second bump here with 156 in the special attacking stat. Even number in the special defense, just to get the nice little round number for our Earth Power max Quake boost. And then from here, let's optimize the Life Orb chip damage. Instead of 169, yeah, we'll actually leave it at 169. Again, you want to end in the 9, because with the Life Orb, you take 1/10 of your HP per turn. So if you have 169 divided by 10, 16.9, which rounds down to 16 damage per turn you'll take from Life Orb. If you break the threshold, you're at 170. Now you're taking 17 damage per turn. You're taking an extra point of chip damage. Why would you do that to yourself? Undercut the threshold, go to 169, and then from here, you can just dump the rest in defense like this, or you can even, just put 1 point here and then just dump the rest in special attack. No, it's all good. I'll just put him in defense for now. This may change later on, just depending on what's a little more optimal, but, a little bit of extra defense doesn't really hurt anyone. And what ends up happening is, with Intimidate from the Incineroar, you can take a Zacian Behemoth Blade Adamant and live and get off a Life Orb attack. So this little extra defense does help it a little bit in that regard. So yeah. Speaking of Incineroar, here it is. generally, you know, 28 speed is what we want here. Let's go Careful Nature, you know, this way we can take those special attack boosts a little bit better, you know, because Calyrex Shadow Rider still hurts. There it is. 84. So this way, you know, with Tailwind, we outspeed a Charizard or a Zapdos, you know, a base 100. So this way, our parting shot is faster than theirs. So if they're already Dynamax, you know, we can neuter that and reduce the damage that they're doing by going with the faster parting shot, right? And then from here, you know, max HP, 1 point in attack, and then leftover just goes into defense. And, you know, with the Intimidate, you're able to live that Zacian fighting move, close combat. Not so relevant now, but still a very good spread. And if you care enough, if you want to take a little bit off the speed here and go to 172, this will give you that favorable roll against the Modest Life Orb, Max Lightning Regieleki, right? Because, you know, sometimes you just want to click Fake on an Aleki, but then the Aleki says, no, I'm just going to Dynamax, I have a Life Orb, I'm going to click Max Lightning, I'm going to one-shot your Incineroar, and then you have no Incineroar. But with this investment, you have a little bit more of a favorable roll against that Modest Life Orb, Max Lightning. It's about 25% OHKO. It hurts. It's from Thunder, by the way. So that's one thing you have to consider. But, you know, without it's still like not as common yet. But I've seen it a couple of times. So, you know, if you don't care for it, if you think you'll live the Thunderbolt Max Lightning, but, you know, with this spread. So we'll just leave it at that for now. Suicune here. So the main thing you want to just make sure with your Suicune is that you outspeed your Solgaleo. So this way your Bulldoze goes first, and then your Solgaleo gets to move after that. So just keep that in mind. And because we have the speed tier that we have, 121. By the way, you only need 120 to outspeed Thundurus at +1. But, you know, we want to outspeed some of those speed creepers, so we just go to 121. Which means our Suicune needs to go to 122, but we still want some good bulk on this, so this way we can take those special attacks from like a Venusaur or a Regieleki for that matter. So Careful Nature is what we're going to do. We're going to go to the second bump, 116, and then we're going to go 122 for our speed stat to outspeed our own Solgaleo by 1 point, so our Bulldoze goes first. And then honestly, from here, you don't really need special attack. I went Careful Nature. I meant Calm, by the way. Sorry about that. Just 1 point in special attack. You don't really need it. It's not a whole bunch. And look, you still have 256 EVs left. So just do all HP and then 1 point in defense, and then you're just kind of chilling, right? So that's really all you need from your Suicune. Just be bulky, outspeed your Solgaleo, and then, you know, click Tailwind, click Bulldoze, click Snarl whenever you deem fit, and you'll be alright. Thundurus, no reason to not just go 252 here. If I switch the item from Focus Sash to Venusaur and give this something else, I'll change the EV spread slightly. But for now, you know, this is just for, you know, a ladder team. I think just keeping it Focus Sash with a 252 spread is just okay. It's okay. And that's pretty much it. So I think we did everything, right? Yeah, let's go ahead and make the paste. Okay, so this is what we're looking at here, right? So, kind of cool. Again, Suicune, you can even lead like Suicune, Solgaleo, click Protect turn 1, click Tailwind, then next turn, click the Bulldoze, proc the policy, Suicune, Solgaleo Dynamaxes, then you're kind of chilling. Incineroar Suicune's also good. That's one of my favorite leads. Parting Shot plus Tailwind, get your Solgaleo or Groudon in, and now they're both under Tailwind. Bulldoze, if it's Solgaleo, proc the policy, smash from there. You can even do like Venusaur Suicune, or like Venusaur Incineroar, I should say. Swap in the Groudon, give it the speed boost, and then, you know, let Solgaleo or Groudon finish the game from the back. Thundurus, Thundurus Groudon, Thundurus Solgaleo, a lot of flexible leads, you know, clicking Leer, clicking Earthquake, clicking Leer, then Dynamaxing your Groudon, that's also kind of good. A lot of different combinations. I think it's a very flexible team. I think it's a pretty fun team. So let's just go ahead and take a look at a couple of practice battles and see what we can do with these two. I remember this game. This was against one of the buddies in Mandy's server, Hero Fire. It was actually called Hero Ice. So this was at the time they were running Groudon, Kyogre. We have a team for that, by the way. That's coming soon. But this one is running Rotom Heat, Thundurus, and Sableye. That's a weird combination. I don't think you need all three of those. I think you either go with the Sableye or the Thundurus. I don't think you need both. But he has both at this given moment. This was like a couple of weeks ago when I was recording for this. That being said, I think the Venusaur does relatively well here, against both the Groudon and the Kyogre. That being said, his own Rotom Heat can do relatively well because we have a Groudon, Venusaur, and Solgaleo. Both do not like Rotom Heat, so that can give us a little bit of trouble there. But we do have Eerie Impulse and we do have Snarl. So yeah, I would be surprised if he didn't bring the Rotom Heat, but let's just go ahead and play the match. So he goes with Sableye and Venusaur, okay, and I'm going with my own Venusaur and my own Suicune. So I thought he would potentially lead the Ogre here. He did not, but this is okay. So the Venusaur is putting pressure on the Suicune. Yeah, now the Sableye can go for something like Sunny Day or Rain Dance, one or the other. It really all depends on what he has. I just want to remove the Sableye because this thing is going to cause problems later on with like Quash stuff, and then I'll never have speed control. So I just want to get in the Groudon and just max the Venusaur and get rid of this with the Vine Lash. Now that being said, I'm going to make his Venusaur faster as well, and with his Tornadus he's probably faster than me. So if he just goes for the Max Flare, that would be very, very interesting, but we'll see what happens. So I'm going to go into Groudon here, and I'm just going to max my Venusaur. He also maxes his Venusaur. So either this is a Flare or Vine Lash. He went for Quash right away. He removes my Groudon. Very, very sad. I was under pressure no matter what. But because he went for Quash, he didn't put pressure on my Venusaur. And I see that there was no Life Orb chip, so it looks like he's probably Sash. And I did see that his Venusaur was faster than mine, so a little unfortunate there. But I do have the Suicune. If I can get Tailwind up, I'll be in a good spot. And I actually do live from the Venusaur, so this is why you want Calm Nature on your Suicune. The fact that I live that is amazing. Venusaur without the Life Orb doesn't do a whole lot of damage, so I was fortunate enough to live that. We got pretty good EVs there, and there's the Flare that does great damage into the Venusaur, honestly, and there's the Tailwind. So now from here, the Groudon went for Fire Punch. Good damage, doesn't kill. We have a lot of bulk on our Venusaur, and it's a non-stat move, so we're okay. Now we can start putting pressure on the Groudon here because I know there's an Ogre in the back. So yeah, my Suicune dies to the Vine Lash, but that's okay. Here comes Solgaleo, and here's the Vine Lash. We remove the Groudon. No Protect. I think it's AV. Otherwise, why wouldn't you Protect? And I know the Venusaur outspeeds me, but he goes for the Quake instead. I don't understand that play. I feel like you could have just killed the Venusaur, and then just, it's my Solgaleo against Kyogre in the rain. And I'm pretty slow, so maybe there's a chance I don't win that. But this, having a 2-on-1 against the Ogre is pretty easy from here. So my Venusaur outspeeds. I know it does because I had the Tailwind, and there it is. There's no Protect on the Ogre, and yeah, Venusaur does very well against the mirror match. So that was that. So let's look at one more. This was our previous team building video. We just built this team, Zacian, Yveltal with Amoonguss, Landorus, and the EUIC. So that's probably Life Orb Life Orb Yveltal, Screech Regieleki, White Herb Landorus. It could be, right? You never know with ladder, but that's what I'm assuming. And the Amoonguss could be like Focus Sash, Cobra Berry, something, right? So generally here, I think it's okay to just lead relatively standard. Let's go with Incin, let's go with Suicune here. So I'm going for the potential combo here. And this is why I led Incineroar. I want to intimidate the Landorus and see if he does have White Herb, even if he had Zacian or something. Now, I was generally more scared of the EUIC, but I do have Groudon in the back, so I wanted to potentially bait the electric attack into Suicune with the swap into Groudon, but he did not lead the EUIC here. He led the Landorus. So my job here is to get Tailwind up, get Parting Shot off, and position my Suicune to Bulldoze the Solgaleo and smash from here. So yeah, and again, there's the Intimidate, and he actually does not have White Herb. It's actually U-turn, so that maybe it's like Assault Vest or something. But he gets the Suicune, the Zacian in, believe it even crits my Suicune. That's not great. So there's the Tailwind, there's the Parting Shot. We weakened the Yveltal, and now here's the Solgaleo. So now from here, I can Bulldoze and start putting pressure. Now, the Zacian I'm generally not very afraid of. I can kill that right now if I want to. But he has the Landorus in the back, and I don't want to Quake into the Zacian, you know, just because he could potentially bait it. So I'd rather just get rid of the Yveltal, because this is what hurts me more later on, rather than the Zacian, because this is the Dark type. So he goes into the Incineroar, so he actually has that one in the back. But again, the Steel Spike is going to help me against the Zacian, but he actually just protects, so it doesn't really matter. So I proc my policy here. I still have Tailwind. I have all the speed control in the world, and there's my Steel Spike. Good damage into Incin, even though it's resisted, but you know, now we have something for the Zacian. I'm just going to go into Groudon here. He actually still went for Fake Out on the Suicune, which is kind of funny. But he gives me the Zacian anyway. So, you know, I thought he would go into Landorus. He did not. There's the Landorus. But again, I'm going back to the Suicune. One more turn of Tailwind. I want to be able to reset it. I know the Incineroar can go for Parting Shot, but he clicked it in the wrong slot. He didn't understand how Parting Shot works. Again, if he brings in the Yveltal, you know, he maxes it. He has to choose, right? Either he stops the Tailwind or he stops the Solgaleo. Solgaleo is probably the main threat. Probably Dynamax's clicks his Life Orb Max Darkness play. You know, I could always protect, but it's too risky because if he goes into the Suicune slot, I lose. So I have to make him pick one. If he kills the Solgaleo, that's okay because I would get Tailwind up. Groudon comes in, you know, puts pressure on the Incineroar and the Yveltal, and then from there, I should be able to pull it out. So, yeah, good match here. I thought he would make some swaps. He did not make some swaps, but that's okay. Solgaleo is so good. Okay, yeah, so that's it. You know, Solgaleo Groudon with Suicune support. I think it's a cool squad, right? You know, Life Orb Venusaur just does a lot of damage. Incineroar and Thundurus support. They do their job. We have a lot of support on this team actually. Incin, Suicune, and Thundurus. So the damage is gonna have to come from the Venusaur, the Solgaleo, and the Groudon, which is okay, right? You know, Groudon doesn't have to max. You know, the main max options would be the Solgaleo and the Venusaur, while Suicune, Incin, Thundurus, you know, you probably bring one of the three, maybe two, but generally their job is just to enable the partners, right? And I feel like we got a cool team here. So shout out to, once again, Yuri, Danielle, and Pado for coming up with a cool 6 for us to try and build here today. They all three did very well. I think 2 of them were in the top 32, 1 of them was in the top 64. So congrats to them from the EUIC. But yeah, let me know if you want to see this as a Rensicle for the month of June. I think we will make it anyway, regardless if people say no. I think it's a cool team. I like Solgaleo a lot. So yeah, we'll be back with another Series 12 team. And again, don't forget to check out coaching on the channel. It is a tier 3 sub. So if you want to you know, make a team with me and sit down on a Discord call while we hash out the EV spreads, something like this, if that's something you're interested in. Many have done quite a few sessions with me already. Definitely take a look at the tier 3 sub, click the join button, and then message me on Discord, and then we'll set up a time. But if you have a team already that you want fixed, that is a tier 2 sub to the channel. That is what we call team fixing, where you submit a Pokepaste to me via Twitter or Discord. I take a look at it, I optimize it, and then I make a video on it, and then I give it back to you. But yeah, tier 3 is more of the teaching, and tier 2 is just here, take my team, make it better, and give it back to me. Alright, so take a look at the tiers. But again, join the Discord if you haven't done so already. The link is in the description. But now, once again, we'll be back with another Series 12 video. Peace out, guys.